Just one second. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, last 3 verses. Today. Karma Yoga, action, Krishna consciousness. 26, 7 and 28. Sparshan kritta bahirvajyash. Chakshush devantare bhavo. Pranapanu samukritta nishabhantara charinu. Jatindriya mano buddhi munir moksha parayana. Vigat ichha bhayakadha. Ja shada mukta evasha. Sparshan, sense objects, such as sound. Sparshan, plural number, objects. Sparsha, not only tasks, like all the Vishaya, objects of senses. Kritta, keeping. Bahi, external. Bayan, unnecessary. Chakshu, eyes. Cha also. Eva, certainly. Antare, between. Bhruva, the eyebrows. Pana, apanu, up and down moving ear. Tan by and upon by. Samu, in suspension. Kritta, keeping. Nasha abhantara, within the nostrils. Charinu, blowing. Jata, control. Shangjata, jata, sangjata, control. Indriya, senses. Mana, mind. Buddhi, intelligence. Muni, the transcendentalist. Moksha, for liberation. Parayana, being so distant. Vigata, ichha, vigata, having discarded, ichha, wishes. Bhaya, fear. Krodha, anger. Ya, one who, sada, always. Mukta, liberated, eva, certainly, sa, he is. Translation. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and the vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can immediately understand one's spiritual identity. And then one can understand the Supreme Lord by means of devotional service. When one is well situated in devotional service, one comes to the transcendental position, qualified to feel the presence of the Lord in the sphere of one's activity. This particular position is called liberation in the Supreme. After explaining the above principles of liberation in the Supreme, the Lord gives instruction to Arjuna as to how one can come to that position by the practice of the mysticism or yoga, known as Ashtanga Yoga, which is divisible in the eightfold procedure called Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dhyan, Dharana, and Samadhi. In the sixth chapter, the subject of yoga is explicitly detailed, and at the end of the fifth, it is only preliminarily explained. One has to drive out the sense objects such as sound, touch, form, taste, and smell by the pratyahar process in yoga. Pratyahar means withdrawing, and then keep the vision of the eye. They keep the vision of the eyes between the two eyebrows and concentrate on the tip of the nose with half-closed lids. There is no benefit in closing the eyes altogether, because then there is every chance of falling asleep. We have an habit. Try to practice by closing the eyes. But Prabhupada clearly told there is no benefit of closing the eyes altogether. Nor is there benefit in opening the eyes completely, because then there is the hazard of being attracted by sense objects. In the material world, everything is meant for bewildering us. The breathing movement is restrained within the nostrils by neutralizing the up moving and down moving air within the body, which is called pran and apan. By practice of such yoga, one is able to gain control over the senses, refrain from outward sense objects, and thus prepare oneself for liberation in the Supreme. This yoga process helps one become free from all kinds of fear and anger, and thus feel the presence of the super soul in the transcendental situation. In other words, Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of executing yoga principles. This will be thoroughly explained in the next chapter. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always engaged in devotional service, does not risk losing his senses to some other engagement. This is a better way of controlling the senses than by Ashtanga Yoga. At the end of Ashtanga Yoga, that means 6th chapter, last verse, Krishna said, Yoginamapi Sarvesha. But with all the yogis, Krishna conscious person is their topmost. Now, last verse of 5th chapter, 29, is called Peace Formula. How to get peace? There is another verse also there at the end of 2nd chapter also. Shashantim adhigacchati. Shashantim adhigacchati. Here also, who can attain peace? Bhaktaram Jagatapasang Sarvalok Maheshwaram Shudang Sarvhutanam Gatvamang Shantim Richati. Bhaktaram, the beneficiary, Bhakta. Jagatapasam, of sacrifices and penances and austerities. Sarvaloko Maheshwaram, Maheshwaram, the Supreme Lord of Sarvalok, all the planets and the demigods thereof. Prabhupada's translation. Sarvaloko means all the planets. But Prabhupada translating all of all the planets and the demigods thereof. Sarvalok. Loko means planet and Loko means people also. And he is the Mahesha, the Supreme Lord. And Shuhridam, he is the benefactor. Supreme Friend, Shuhridam. Sarva of all, Bhutana, the living entities. So, three things. First one, Bhokta of all living entities. Bhokta of all sacrifices, yoga and penances, austerities. And Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the Maheshwar, the Supreme Lord of all the planets and demigods. And third one is Shuridam, the benefactor for greatest friend of Sarva Bhutana, all living entities. If someone understands Krishna in three ways, Gyatta, thus knowing, Mam, me, Shantim Richati. Richati means one achieves. What it achieves? Relief from material pangs. Gyattamang Shantim Richati. When one knows that three things, Krishna is the Bhokta, Krishna is the Maheshwar of all planets, and Krishna is the Shuri. Then one will get supreme peace. A person in full Krishna consciousness of me, knowing me to the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, and the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Purport. The conditioned souls within the clutches of the illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of Bhagavad. The greatest peace formula is simply this. Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Man should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord because he is the proprietor of all planets and demigods thereon. No one is greater than he or equal to him. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is described as Tam Ishwaranam Paramang Maheshwaram. Why Prabhupada giving that? Because in this verse, Krishna is saying, I am the Maheshwar. But Shiva also Maheshwar. Yes. Then we have to understand when Krishna said this is Maheshwar, that means he is the Maheshwar of the Maheshwar. That is his name, Parameshwar. Another verse quoted by Srila Prabhupada from Shatashatar Upanishad, that there also Krishna is known as Maheshwar. So how to understand who is Maheshwar, Shiva or Krishna? How to understand? Very simple to understand. What designation you can give a junior, that thing you can give it to senior. There is no problem. To a minister, you can tell minister. But prime minister You can say minister also. Prime Minister, both you can call. But simple minister, you can only say minister, not Prime Minister. So like you are the owner of the house. Krishna is the owner of the house. But you are not the owner of the whole world, but Krishna is the owner of the whole world. Superior person can achieve and accept any junior position. But junior cannot accept any senior position. That is why Shiv is Mahashar, is okay. But Krishna also Mahashar. But how I understand who is real Mahashar? The Krishna is the Maheshwar, the Mahesh. That is his name is Parameshwar. That is why if we see anywhere Krishna's name is Maheshwar, that is not mistake. Like in Bhakti, Mukti is there. If we say devotees are liberated, that's true. You can say devotees are liberated person. But liberated person cannot say they are devotees. Under the spell of illusion, living entities are trying to be lords of all the serving. But actually, they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature, and the conditioned souls are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world either individually or collectively. This is the sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the great demigods, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete Krishna consciousness. This fifth chapter is a practical explanation of Krishna consciousness, generally known as Karma Yoga. The question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered here. To work in Krishna consciousness is to work with the complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from transcendental knowledge. Direct Krishna consciousness is Bhakti Yoga, and Gyan Yoga is a path leading to Bhakti. Krishna consciousness means work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute. And the perfection of this consciousness is full knowledge of Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure soul is the eternal servant of God, as is fragmental part and part-7. He comes into contact with Maya due to the desire to lord it over Maya. And that is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute work in terms of material necessities. Krishna consciousness, however, brings one into spiritual life, even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter. Or it is an arousing of spiritual existence by practice in the material world. The more one is advanced, the more he is freed from the clutches of matter. The Lord is not partial toward anyone. Everything depends on one's practical performance of duties in Krishna consciousness, which is every aspect helps one control the senses and conquer the influence of desire and anger. Icha Desh. From Icha Desh comes duality. Icha Desha Samatthena. Dandamaya. And one who stands first in Krishna consciousness, one who stands first in Krishna consciousness, controlling the above mentioned passions, remains factually in the transcendental stage or Brahma Nirvana. The eightfold yoga or Ashtanga yoga, mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because the ultimate purpose is Sar. We have never heard that Hanuman practiced any Ashtanga yoga, but he should. It's power. There is a gradual process of liberation in the practice of Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dhyan, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. But these only preface perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human being. It is the highest perfection of life. Thus end the Bhakti Yoga purports to the 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the matter of karma yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. Now, we read from 6th chapter, Ashtanga Yoga. Another name of Ashtanga Yoga is Dhyan Yoga. Dhyan Yoga or Ashtanga. Sometimes some books written the Abhyas Yoga of some, but Prabhupada is written is Dhyan Yoga or Ashtanga. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Anasrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Shashanneshicha Yogicha Non-Niragni Chakri. The continuation of the 5th chapter. What is the 5th chapter question? Original question was, tell me definitely, certainly, which one is the best? Karma or sannyas? I think that is clear with Prabhupada example. Sannyas and karma, yoga. Prabhupada said, sannyas is searching the root of the tree. And karma yoga means just pouring water. The searching of the root is for pouring water. So by searching, if you don't pour water, what is the use of searching? Trouble. But only if we pour water on the root, what is the use of searching root? So maybe that his doubt is not clear yet. Krishna again giving the answer. Anachita karma phalam karyam karma phalam sasannashita yogicha. He is sannyasi, he is yogi. He who is yogi, he is already sannyasi. How? When a devotee thinks everything belongs to me, everything is Krishna's property. Nothing belongs to me. So that means sannyas. So one is devotee is already sannyas. Sri Bhagavan, the Lord said, Arasita without taking shelter. Karma phalam, the result. Anasrita karma phalam means asrita karma phalam. Asrita karma phalam means depend on his own karma. Like I have done a very big degree, and with that degree I will get money, I will get this peace. We are dependent on our karma. Bhakti Thakur wrote, পড়িতে পড়িতে ভরসা বাড়িল জ্ঞানে গতি হবে মানি. By studying, oh, I have great knowledge, so with that knowledge I can earn so much money, I can become very happily situated in this world. Asrita karma phalam. He is asrita karma. He acquired one good degree, he is depending on that degree, the asrita karma phala. Anasrita karma phala means without taking shelter of the result of one. In such a karyam karoti, karyam karma. Karyam karma karoti, karyam karma karoti. Karyam obligatory, karma what? Karoti, performs. Ja, he who, one who, sa, he. Ja, sa, one, he who. Sannyasi, in the renounced order, cha, also. Yogi, mystic. So also. No, not. Ni, Agni, Niragni. Niragni means without fire. What is without fire? Without fire means not performing yoga. No, not. So also, akriya without duty. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work, anasrita karma phala, and who works as he is obligated, is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic. True mystic, real yogi, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. It is not that, oh, he's not performing any yoga, not even igniting fire also. But he's not. In this chapter, the Lord explains that the process of eightfold yoga system is the means to control the mind and the senses. However, this is very difficult for people in general to perform, especially in the age of Kali. Although the eightfold yoga system is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes that the process of karma yoga or acting in Krishna consciousness is better. Everyone acts in this world to maintain his family and their paraphernalia, but no one is working without some self-interest, some personal gratification, be it concentrated or extended. The criterion of perfection is to act in Krishna consciousness and not with a view to enjoying fruits of work. To act in Krishna consciousness is the duty of every living entity, because all the constitutional parts and parcels of the Supreme. The parts of the body work for the satisfaction of the whole body. The limbs of the body do not act for self-satisfaction, but for the satisfaction of the complete whole. Similarly, the living entity who acts for satisfaction of the Supreme Whole and not for personal satisfaction is the perfect sannyasi, the perfect yogi. The sannyasis sometimes artificially think that they have become liberated from all material duties, and therefore they cease to perform Agnihotra yajnas, fire sacrifices. But actually, they are self-interested because their goal is to become one with the impersonal Brahman. Such a desire is greater than any material desire. I want to become Brahma. Such a desire is greater than any material desire. But it is not without self-interest. This is called last snare of Maya. Similarly, the mystic yogi who practices the yoga system with half-open eyes, ceasing all material activities, desires some satisfaction for his personal self. But a person acting in Krishna consciousness works for the satisfaction of the whole without self-interest. A Krishna conscious person has no desire for self-satisfaction. His criterion of success is the satisfaction of Krishna. And thus, he is a perfect sannyas or perfect yogi. Lord Chaitanya, the highest perfectional symbol of renunciation, prays in this one. No dhanam, no janam, no sundarim, kavitang bhajagati shikamai. Mama janmani janmani share, bhavatat bhakti rahit. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Very nice. Okay. Number Radha Mataji, number Shita.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanvat Pranams. Maharaj, I wanted to know that Hiranyakashipu and Ravan, they performed Ashtanga Yoga while they did the tapasya to please the Lord, Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva.
Yes, they're yogis. Without yoga, how they can give support? They're yogis.
And Maharaj, yogis like Vishwamitra and Durvasa Muni, so they
Yogis.
also practice this same mystic yoga.
Yes.
Okay.
But Srila Prabhupada wrote in Bengali song. He mentioned there, যোগীর আসনে বসেছিল বিশ্বামিত্র জন্ম দিল শকুন্তলা সুন্দরী পবিত্র. Here's doing yoga. যোগীর আসনে বসেছিল বিশ্বামিত্র. Vishwamitra doing meditation, যোগ. But জন্ম দিল শকুন্তলা সুন্দরী পবিত্র. Then next line, এইভাবে যোগভ্রষ্ট জ্ঞানীর কি কথা? In this way, the yogis fall down. What about discussion of জ্ঞানীস? এইভাবে যোগভ্রষ্ট জ্ঞানীর কি কথা? কর্মীজন মূলজন ব্যথিত সর্ব. So what is the discussion of him? What is the use of discussing about the karmis? Yogis condition like that, no need of discussing the gainis and karmis. Clear?
Yes.
Varsha Kumari.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you Maharaj for this wonderful class. Maharaj, I wanted to ask that we are told that we should do devotional activities. So sometimes we are doing devotional activities externally, but internally the bhav is that we have to do it for our sense gratification. Like we'll get appreciation. Everybody will say, "Oh, nice! How nicely she is doing." So, how can we do it with externally also and internally also, with the mood to serve Krishna and Krishna alone, not for our sense gratification?
Gradually it will happen. One day one cannot become a very big person. Gradually, initially we don't feel from inside, but we have to practice. There is a sadhana. Vaidhi, and then Ragana. Vaidhi first is called following rules and regulation, and then it's called Ragana, spontaneous attachment. That one disciple asked Prabhupada, I don't feel to bow down. Prabhupada said, okay, still you should bow down. If you don't feel, I don't feel from inside. Prabhupada said, still you should try. Like in kirtan, in kirtan we dance, not always for out of love, for mental satisfaction, for health purpose, for showing others, so many things maybe, but it is good. Okay, Sibba Vardharanjan.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for the class. My doubt is in the first text of chapter 6, the translation, I am not able to understand the sentence, not he who lights no fire and performs no work.
Lights no fire means need of knee, not like need of the devotees, like yogis. They give everything. At least they perform yoga. For yoga, you have to ignite fire. But one can, oh, I'll not ignite fire also. I'll not cook for myself also. By doing that, you cannot become devotee. No, nirogna means not performing sacrifices. And what is the purpose? Yoga is mostly, yoga means actually, yoga means for satisfy Lord. But in general meaning of yoga means fire sacrifice. That is why they are called Agnihotra yoga. Offering oblation in fire, Agnihotra. Clear? Thank you very much. So far. Muskan and Chahat is new customer. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada. Oh,